Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I am Nicole. I live here in India, and tonight I'm with my very good friend Laurence.
Hello.
You know her. She has been here for 15 years in India. I have been here for 18 years, and it's an interesting combination tonight. So what we are reacting to, or what we're going to watch, is India believes France is a reliable partner, but the USA is not. And hello, Laurence is from France. She's French. She's my very good French friend. And of course, as you know, I am American. So it's like we are like the perfect combination to react to this video and to watch it. So let's go ahead. This is Major Gaurav Arya, and on Macron and PM Modi, and why India believes France is a more reliable partner than the USA. Let's find out. I'm going to see if I might agree to that. Let's check. Let's check, people.
And through India, tell the world that if you do not listen to the United States of America, there will be a price to pay. India has just said one thing to the United States. We are willing to do everything that we control for our friendship. But if you think we are going to barter because you are giving us technology, that is not going to happen. Now, all these things, over a period of time, actually telling the Americans there is a sense of, strategic sovereignty that India practices. Jai Hind, friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Friends, you all know about Nikhil Gupta, the man the US accuses of trying to kill Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, who's a US come Canadian citizen. Now, so the story is like this, as per the Americans. Now, this is what the Americans say, that Nikhil Gupta was paying money to somebody to kill Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, and that somebody was an undercover agent of the Americans. So then there was apparently this video call in which people from the Indian government were sitting, etc., etc. Some story that the Americans have cooked up, and they said that no, he's the guy. Nikhil Gupta is the guy who's trying to kill Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. Now, forget about this story. It will happen in a court of law, and I'll deal with that later. But for now, I want to tell you the background, and it's very important, especially for the NRIs who are there. And you can be from US or UK or any other country, but it's important that you know the background, and it's important that you know this analysis. The Americans and this entire story of Nikhil Gupta was brought forward in front of the world recently after the G20 summit. Right? It was broken on the media after the G20 summit. The thing is that the Americans had this quote-unquote information. I'm not saying they have genuine information, I'm saying this quote-unquote story. It predates the G20 summit. And the Americans had this entire thing in place at least 4 or 5 months before G20 took place. So this is an entire carrot and stick approach, ladies and gentlemen, and the NRIs must understand this. I would request all the NRIs to watch this video till the end and understand the games that are being played. This is a carrot and stick approach of the United States of America, and this is why India does not trust the US. And believe you me, we trust the French, we even, heaven forbid, trust the English, but we do not trust the Americans. I'm not talking about the American people. I'm talking about the government of the United States of America. It's not a trustworthy government.
Okay. I honestly, mostly with what he's saying, I mostly agree. Like, America cooks things up. We use a carrot and stick approach. I'm not sure if there are, I can't say that the entire government can't be trusted, but I think that there are big pieces of the government that can't be trusted. And so I have, let's continue.
It has let down all its allies, with the exception of UK. Currently, it's in the process of letting down Israel. All right. I'll come to that later if we have the time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what happened was that America had the story placed. So this, the government of India has, quote unquote, decided to kill Pannu, and the government of India So the Americans say, have decided to hire a guy called Nikhil Gupta who will pay money to X, who will pay money to Y, and that Y and go kill this guy, Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, somewhere in the US. That was the story. They kept the story in the deep freeze. And in between, they tried everything. So what is the carrot and stick approach? What America is trying to tell India, and through India tell the world, that if you do not listen to the United States of America, there will be a price to pay. If you do not listen to the United States of America, you're going to be in hot water. What
Do you think America generally does that? Has a reputation for doing that?
Yeah.
As a Frenchie,
Yeah, we call you the police of the world.
police of the world.
That's what you think you are.
That's what we think we are. Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, I have to agree with this assessment. Yeah.
the Americans don't realize is that they no longer have that kind of power. And even when they did, India did not kowtow to anybody.
I didn't.
Today, we have money, enough money for our needs. I'm not saying we are a rich country and we can sign trillion-dollar checks. Of course we cannot. But we have enough money for our needs,
Yeah.
and plus some. The problem with the US is that the US is essentially, and I'm talking from a foreign policy perspective, essentially a bully. Their tactics are ham-handed, and they do not know how to deal with nations. They think they can steamroll. The problem is there is India standing in front. You can't steamroll India. You can be the United States of America, you can be the People's Republic of China, and you can be 10 other nations all rolled into one, and you can't steamroll India. Try. Try once. So ladies and gentlemen, what America is trying is this, trying to pressurize India. The first thing that the Americans felt upset about was, hey, you know, India is not taking an unequivocal stand against the Russians in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The Americans didn't like that. The Americans expected, because the Americans said, hey, you know, we are doing this for you, we are doing this for you. There have been a lot of carrots given, and we have spoken about the GE engine, and we've spoken about the General Atomic drones, and we have spoken about this and that, and so much more. You know, you better listen to us. India said no. We did not toe the American line when it was the peak of the Russia-Ukraine war. We just didn't. Number two, the Americans were literally breathing down our necks saying that you cannot buy oil from the Russians. You can't do that. You know, they've violated international treaties and they've violated international norms, and they've invaded Ukraine. Well, I, as an Indian citizen, feel that the Russian invasion of Ukraine was wrong. But I also know that the Russians were pushed into a corner. There isn't much that they could have done. They were pushed into a corner. Now, did India condemn the Russian invasion? No. India called for peace. India said this is not an era for war. There should be no war. And I think that was the decent stand to take, and India took that stand. America did not like it. The US was almost, you know, every single day calling up people in the Ministry of External Affairs, calling up senior people in India saying that no, India must not proceed with the S-400 missiles. You can't buy those missiles from the Russians. We will give you state-of-the-art missiles. Take it from us. Don't. You need to isolate Russia. Not because they wanted to sell their missiles to us. No, that was not the case. They wanted to isolate Russia. And India has a big voice in Asia. In the world, actually. Why only Asia? Isolate, isolate, isolate. The Americans tried everything. Long before, the Americans had told the Indians, do not buy oil from Iran. And the Indians went ahead and bought oil from Iran. Now, all these things, you know, over a period of time, started actually telling the Americans that there is a sense of, you know, strategic sovereignty.
Autonomy.
You can't force India into taking a certain position just because you like that position or you want that position to be taken. And India also communicated to the entire world that this is India, this is not Pakistan. That, you know, you give $20 and they do whatever you want. No. This is India. India will do exactly what it wants. And you can keep your F-16s, and you can keep your GE engines, and you can keep your drones, and you can keep whatever you wish with you. If you don't want to give it to us, and anyway, you're not handing it to us like you have done for the Pakistanis.
Yeah.
We're paying you hard cash.
They're paying.
We're paying you dollars. And if you think that you can delay the GE engines, we'll get Safran from France. That's all right. That's all right. One more thing. There are two things that happened, and I would like to explain this strategically. You know about the AUKUS, right? Because of consistent US pressure and US meddling, the deal between France and Australia is part of the AUKUS, and Australia is also part of the Five Eyes that intelligence set up. All right. What happened was that the deal, the submarine deal, there was a nuclear submarine deal that was to happen, and it was almost agreed upon. Everything was agreed upon between France, and France was to supply those submarines to the
The
Australians.
US stop it.
That deal collapsed. France was absolutely livid. It was absolutely
That's
livid.
an
Today, we
announcement.
see that there are cracks in the AUKUS alliance. And today, that presents an opportunity to India. I've said it so many times. So, ladies and gentlemen, I spoke to a few NRIs from the US, and they were at pains to explain to me that, US is a wonderful country, and the people are lovely, and it's such a great country, such a free country, the greatest country on earth. I'll reserve my judgment on that. But anyway, and I agree with them, except for the greatest country on earth nonsense. I agree with them. It's a lovely country. It's a beautiful country.
Can we not all have like pride for our country? Like, I don't think it's the greatest country. I think
That's what you're saying.
I know, but I mean that idea that it's. I mean, but I also think that people should be able to have and express pride for their country. That and that's okay. Like it's
No, I think
where
it's
we're all
problematic
from.
that NRIs have proud for.
The NRIs.
So,
Well, NRIs are. I mean,
but that's normal.
They're
That's
American
part
now.
of assimilation.
Yeah.
You have to.
take.
Yeah.
You take that country's citizenship, and you do your best to be a good citizen.
There are two ways of being an immigrant. It's assimilation or building yourself against everything which comes in.
Mhm.
So generally, assimilation
Is the better one, right?
peaceful way of doing it
Yeah.
for
See,
yourself.
great people. Nothing against the United States of America. My own sister, my elder sister, lives in the US, though I've never visited the US in my life. My problem has never been with the American people. Never. My problem is with the American government and the way they conduct their foreign policy. That's absolutely wrong.
I'm pretty sure that Major Gaurav would probably not be getting a visa anyway. And that, I mean, I'm joking. It doesn't sound like he really wants to go for
No.
sure. But I don't think with the fact that he's in the military and or would have been in the military, and even his very vocal stance would probably not get him a visa. But doesn't sound like he wants one anyway.
So, what happened here was that America tried to isolate France. Now, India comes in between, and
We want you to be our only friend.
And India and France have gotten together like a house on fire for a very long time when India conducted the Pokhran tests, right? It was France that said we support India. And this partnership, this friendship goes back decades. So it's not something that is new. So there are 3-4 things that have happened, which I'm trying to analyze for you. Number one, this whole Nikhil Gupta episode, that maybe somebody in India is trying to knock off Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. America had this entire ball of wax in a deep freeze for a very long time. At least 4 to 5 months before the G20 summit, they said nothing in the G20 summit, and they said, hey, we facilitated much of the G20 in terms of people coming there. Otherwise, India did G20 on its own. But America said, hey, here is something that we'll give you as a gesture of friendship. America doesn't care if Pannu is killed tomorrow. Please understand, a lot of people are saying that, hey, because of Pannu, Joe Biden did not come to the Republic Day. I'm sorry, that's not true. They don't care if Pannu dies today or tomorrow. They don't care about Pannu. Pannu is not like a senator or a congressman, and even if he was, and if it suited American interests, they would knock off the senator and the congressman. They don't care. Americans don't care. They only care about profit, their own profit, their foreign policy. So anybody who thinks that, hey, Joe Biden said no to the Republic Day because this entire episode regarding Gurpatan Singh Pannu, nothing could be further from the truth. The Americans don't care.
We probably don't. Yeah.
So what happened? Why did Joe Biden say no? Joe Biden said no simply because he said there are previous political commitments and this and that, and Trump on the rise, Biden on all that is true, but this was also to express displeasure towards India. That, hey, listen, we've been doing it, we helped you out in G20. We said okay to the GE engines, we said okay to 32 drones that you wanted to buy from General Atomics. We said okay to this, we said okay to that, we have said okay to everything. We do everything for you, but when it comes to you doing something, you don't do anything. So, India has just said one thing to the United States. We are willing to do everything that we control for our friendship. But if you think we are going to barter our sovereignty just because you are giving us technology, that is not going to happen.
No.
We don't want your technology in that case.
Keep it.
Put off America very badly. Now coming to the French president's visit to India. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what happened after G20. People were saying that Joe Biden will come for the Republic Day. It was
I remember that.
pretty much understood that Joe Biden will come.
Yeah.
And the Americans had also said that, yeah, the president is
It's
coming
coming. Yeah.
for the Republic Day. Then the Americans said that, hey, he was in India for the G20, it doesn't make sense for the US president to go back to India so soon. Number one. Number two, no, there is the Iowa primary or elections are happening.
Yeah.
Then there was rumor mongering regarding Hunter Biden and Hunter
Yeah.
Biden being, accused of criminal offenses like tax evasion, etc.
Investigated.
That was number three. So all this started happening and that atmosphere started being built. And one fine day, Joe Biden says he's not able to come. So
Not
he
gonna come.
contacted the president of France and he said, I'll be happy to come. Anything for India. And he came there. And the protocol that the French president was given, he landed up in Jaipur. And this was, when was the last time, Prime Minister Modi did a massive roadshow like this? The last time he did a massive roadshow was with Xi Jinping. He's also done public appearances with a lot of head of state. But you remember when Donald Trump came? All through the streets of Ahmedabad, kids waving, and, Donald Trump driving down the street. This happened for such top-level people, like, for example, Xi Jinping or, for example, Donald Trump. Prime Minister Modi did it for the French president. This was also India telling the world that we have France. We don't need America giving dictations to India. We will not take dictation from the United States of America. And we are strategically sovereign. So ladies and gentlemen, this was the entire thing that happened. I thought I'll tell you why the Indians are treating the French president's visit with such a lot of importance. France is important. France is a friendly country. France is a close ally.
You important.
Also,
You friendly.
this is my personal analysis. Because I think like this, so I think that even the Indian establishment would think like that. I don't think that the Indian establishment or the national security establishment or the foreign office establishment actually trusts the United States of America. There's a massive trust deficit. Thank you for watching this video, and now I'll come to the question and answers. So ladies and gentlemen, the first question is Sudipt Kashyap. Whether it would be appropriate for India to cancel the order for G404 engines for the Tejas Mark 1 planes and instead offer Safran M88 engines from France, considering the fact that the Americans could hold up critical spares due to sudden downturn in the relationship with India. France has always been. Absolutely, I think, see, I don't think India is going to say no to the GE engines, but India would insist on 100% transfer of technology, and once the technology is being transferred, it doesn't matter whether the Americans like us or not. Right? I think India is going for that, and Safran 100% transfer of technology has already been promised by the French, so no surprises there. And I think that's the way we should go. We should not shut doors with the Americans. Again, I'm saying, the problem is with certain American politicians and bureaucrats. It is not with the American people or the country as such. It's a beautiful country, lovely people. They have some terrible politicians, that's all. Suraj Nanda, sir, can we really trust France? I mean, it was the same colonial power as British. If you stop trusting colonial powers, there'll be very less number of countries that you can trust, because almost all the major countries in Europe
True.
are mostly colonial. Italy was a colonial power. The Dutch were a colonial
Yes.
power. The Portuguese were the colonial power. Spain was a colonial power. England was a colonial power.
The Dutch.
Germany was a colonial power. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, we can trust France.
Yeah, the one.
Because France has proven again and again that it is worthy of our trust.
I don't know what Italy has.
So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I come to the end of this
Well,
video.
we might
If you
have
like this
lost
video,
it
if you
a
did,
long
press
time
the like
ago,
button. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
All right, so that is the end of that discussion. As I think this is, I mean, it's a little older of a discussion. I thought it was funny. And when I found it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm American. She's French. We need to watch this. So
The problem is we agree, so there is not even a fight.
there isn't even a fight. I totally agree. Americans, lovely country, beautiful people, obviously. Shady politicians and shady foreign policy, and it has been for decades. You know, everything that comes out, you know, that we've learned. I mean, even, you know, just from the 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, we keep on learning things, and it's like worse and worse and worse that Americans, like the people, were not aware of, they were not in touch with in terms of foreign policy, in terms of killing sovereign rulers or dictators, and trying to force
Put in place people.
put
who
people in
get
place,
worse.
and we're worse and worse and worse. And you know, a lot of what's happening in the Middle East, most of what's happening in the Middle East can be traced back to what we did there. And so yeah, I have to really, I agree with him 100%. You know, and India needs to have autonomy and sovereignty in regards to its policies and its what or how they are, you know, ruling themselves. And they were not being given freebies. These drones, these engines, these were things that they were paying for or did pay for. So it's not as if they were owed something or that the Americans thought that they should be owed something. You know, this was not something given for free. So I can totally understand why India did what it did. And I would have to agree. I think France is
Don't like bullies.
a great ally for India and a great friend. And I wish America was a better friend for India. I wish they were. I'm glad that India has France, and I'm glad that India has, you know, so many other countries that are behind it. Yeah. What about
We
you?
don't like bullies.
You don't like bullies. The French don't like bullies.
That reminds me every time Macron and Donald Trump met.
Oh, and the
The
handshake.
handshake,
Yeah.
which would go for
Oh. In case you don't know, yeah, Donald Trump had a very aggressive handshake, and Macron wasn't going to let him win.
No.
And that's good. I like that. That was like show him was boss. Excellent. So people, that was our reaction. I hope you enjoyed it. This was a interesting one to watch. I really do. This Major Gaurav Arya was really very interesting to listen to. I liked his point of view, and I enjoyed listening to him. So maybe we'll do another one of his in the future, Laurence. Be ready for it. All right. So if that's all. If you haven't already, please give me your like. Please give me your subscribe. As always, we love you, and bye-bye.
Bye.